Imagine somebody asked you to tie your shoes and you don't know how. That would be super embarrassing. So when somebody asks you how to tie a fishing knot, why would you want to not know how to tie one of those either? I'm going to teach you how to tie 3 different fishing knots: the Uni Knot, the Enhanced Uni Knot, and the Polymer Knot, as well as when and what to use them for. Soon you'll be keeping your baits longer because your knots won't be slipping, which means you'll be saving money and catching bigger, stronger fish. When I started fishing, my knots were terrible and I constantly lost my baits, and my uncle made a lot of fun of me. So I'm trying to avoid that for you guys. The first knot will be the Uni Knot, and it's the most simple form of a fishing knot. You start it by taking your line and sit down. So, okay, that's up so you can't see that very well. But you're gonna go through the little hole at the end, like you normally would to tie anything. And your steps are gonna be to basically twist it around. So you got a bunch of spirals in your line. And this knot is used for line like this, which is called monofilament. It's really only used if you're a beginner, but you use it for things like crankbaits and even the iconic hook and bobber. As you've spun this up, there will be a little loop at the end here with a space that you should be able to thread one of your lines through. Yeah, you really can't see that at all, but my bad. You're gonna take your line and thread it through here, and that's really all there is to it. You're just gonna tighten this down now and pull it, and this is what it'll look like when it's done. It's very uniform and neat, and when you are done, you're gonna want to snip this off, this excess, but you don't want to snip it too close, or else when you get something and pull on it, it could slip and there will be nothing for it to catch on and your knot will come undone. The next knot is basically the same thing, it just has an extra step, so you guys aren't going to be able to do this one. I'm going to repeat all the same steps, not on the overhead because you know what they are. And this one is used for the same things, and you just use this one when you're a little better at it and it just makes sense because it's easier and you can do the extra step. So I've got my line and I'm taking it through the center hole like we did the other one. But now, with the loop you made from feeding it through, you're going to take your excess and feed it through that loop too. So basically, it just has another catch point, and you're going to tighten it the same way, and it's going to look almost the exact same, but it has another piece to avoid slipping through, so you can keep your stuff and save your baits and whatnot. This last one is called a polymer knot, and it is completely different. It is for braided fishing line, and it is a friction knot. It's used for things like topwater baits, which could be a frog, or a popper, or a buzzbait, or a hummer. And you want to use braided line when you fish topwater because the reactions you get from fish are very explosive and they put a lot of strain on your line. And if you're fishing in a lily pad area, you need to be able to rip through the lily pads or you will cut your line and create weak points, which is never very good. So you'll start it similarly. You'll take it through the one side, but instead of twisting it, you're going to take your line and put it back through. So you end up having a loop on one end and both of your lines on the other. And then you're going to cross it like you start tying your shoes. It's just going to be like a loop, and then you go under, and you're just going to pull that part tight. And once you get to here, you're going to take whatever you have, your hook or whatever, in this loop, and you're gonna feed your bait through that loop. So now it's on the other side of your material, whatever it is. And because it's a friction knot, you typically want to get it wet. So if you're in the water, you can just dip it in the water or lick around it. And then you pull the string and it cinches up. This knot is powerful, but not good for line like this because it will burn your line and create a really strong weak point, and it'll almost always snap there. Now you know how to tie these knots, and you'll become a better angler and definitely not get embarrassed on the water.